Okay, hello everybody. Today's date is 11/24/2021. Hold on one second, let me just make sure that I'm recording because I got a massive glare on my phone right now. Just want to make sure that it's in the record mode and everything's copacetic, and it appears to be so. Alright, Munchkin Butts, this is going to be considered to be video number 2 of at least a 2-part, probably a 3-part video series. Video number 1 has already been made, but I don't think it's uploaded yet. So just bear with me, staying tuned to this account. And that video, memory serves me correctly, that video has to do with, I believe if I remember correctly, I stated in that video that I was going to title it along the lines of, gang stalking, electromagnetic weapons, memory mapping, or memory stimulation. So, now, I tell you what I'll do, since tomorrow's Thanksgiving, what I'll try and do is I'll try and go into, because I got a lot of microcards right now, they got a lot of backed up videos on them that haven't been uploaded yet, and I haven't even had time to check to see what most recent videos I've uploaded. This crime keeps me so busy, so just stay tuned to this account. And when I upload video number 1, 2, and then eventually 3, I'll try my best to go out of my way to title them ASAP. Each video of this video series will have the same video title, except the number 2 and 3 will have a number 2 and 3 at the end of the title. The titles will be identical. So what I'm going to do in this particular video is I'm going to talk to you about the sick, sadistic, depraved, demented, demonic, extremely criminally insane pathology of these wild, satanic, filthy, maggot, rat-ass animal whores who are hosting the crime of gang stalking. Okay? Now, I know that's a lot of descriptions there, sweethearts, but that don't even begin to accurately describe the depth of the sickness of these filthy whores. Oh, absolutely, you would not believe what I know about these wild animals. Oh, absolutely. So I do apologize if my descriptions seem a little bit offensive or too descriptive for you. It is my intention at all times, to try my best, baby cakes, to apply the most closest, accurate descriptions of the mentality, attitude, personality, and pathology of these sick, wild animals. So check it out. What you're about ready to hear is going to blow your mind. When this video approaches the 33-minute 9-second mark, since I'm in a total massive glare out here, I might not notice it. So if I go past that mark, the video camera itself will automatically segue into a separate file. So if the third video shows me just talking, or maybe like on the tail end of the description of what would be at the tail end of the video 2, well, just bear with it, because that's the situation and what caused it. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to help you understand the depth and measure that of the sickness of these depraved whores, and how they apply it within action in order to bring a gang stalking victim from A to B to C to D, because that's what I do. Absolutely. So pay attention very, very closely. First thing I'm going to do is lay down the foundation, then I'm going to segue into some subscriptions that are going to help reinforcing, that are going to help complement it, and then the follow-up statements from there will reinforce all of it. So, pay attention closely. First thing I'm going to do is give you a metaphorical example so you can see how that plays in with the subject matter. So, here we go. Now, so, say if you're a person, and by the way, I've used the same metaphorical example in previous videos because it absolutely is one of the best, easy ways to display the subject matter of the metaphorical statement in layman's terms. That way, everybody can immediately see it. Okay? So here we go. Now, so, say, right now I'm at a shopping center, okay? And how many shopping centers have you been through in your lifetime where you spent the day running around doing whatever, doing multiple tasks, maybe the bank, the post office, going to the store, maybe going to a coffee shop, visiting a relative or a friend, what have you, you're out all day, you're tired, or maybe you just go to one place and you don't feel good, so you don't feel like cooking when you go home. So what you might conclude, what you might decide, as you are out and about in the community, you might say to yourself, damn, it's 3 o'clock, by the time we get home, it's going to be 4:30, I'm already tired, I don't feel good, why don't we pick up something to eat on the way home? And so the people who are making this choice and making these statements, they're aware of where they're at in real time, ratio to the distance of their homes. So what they'll do is that they'll make this choice, okay, and then they'll say, okay, this is where we are, this is what kind of food we want, and this is where we want to go home. So we'll call it, we'll order the food. Okay, we'll call the restaurant, we'll order the food, and then we'll pick it up on the way home. But before they make that call, they sit back and they ask themselves, husband and wife, what do we want to eat? So just hear me out. So as a direct result of them stating to themselves what are they in the mood for to eat, they decide Mexican food. So again, they see where they're at in real time and where they need to go home. So there's a Mexican restaurant at between those two places. Now, since they know where they live and they know where they're at when they're making this choice, their brain is going to go into their memory Rolodex. We all know what a physical Rolodex looks like, and I love using that pictorial description because it gives you an immediate pictorial understanding concerning how the brain will process through the memory bank of your memories in order to pick out a Mexican restaurant that you are aware of is on the way home from where you're at. So basically, if you picture a Rolodex and each card on the Rolodex has got a specific stated description, this is where the drugstore is, this is where the hardware store is on each one, this is where the mall's at, this is where mom and dad lives, this is where the boyfriend lives, and so on and so forth. This is where my kids' schools are at. Each time you go into that Rolodex to find the phone number and address of whatever you're looking up, you then pull out that card from the Rolodex, you look at the name, the address, the phone number, and so on. Well, our memory works in a very similar way. In reference to, you're at a shopping mall. You make the choice that you want Mexican food that you want to be able to order and then pick up on your way home. So what your brain does is your brain goes into your memory Rolodex and it pulls out pictorial representations of the Mexican restaurants that you ate at before and or are aware of that are in and along the routes of where you're at to where you're going. Now, thought composition. So this is a thought composition. This is a thought being formulated in real time in order to lead to a decision. I'm hungry, I want Mexican food, where are we going to go? The brain starts looking for the places that are in their memory reference pertaining to what Mexican restaurants are available, either ones they've been to in the past on the way home or ones that they've seen on the way home. So as that thought is being composed, verbal thought, where is the Mexican restaurant at, the brain then searches the memory Rolodex and pulls out that prior information pertaining to the memory references of places of Mexican restaurants that are on your route home. Now, that's how that memory reference becomes part of the thought composition. Thought composition means the formulation of your thought, the creation of your thought, and then you act on the thought, right? So when you're remembering by accessing your memory Rolodex about where the Mexican restaurants are that you might want to go to, order food from, and then pick up on your way home, what is happening here is that your brain is literally seeing flashes of the visual imagery of that Mexican restaurant pertaining to how it looks and where it's at. And that's how it becomes incorporated within your thought composition. And what motivates it is the hunger of being hungry, which is also a sub and unconscious influence from the limbic system, which is responsible for thirst and hunger. So you have many different types of brain features and functions that are in play here concerning thought composition and how memory references play a huge role in it. Now, so why did I bring that up? So consider this and consider this well. I'm going to give you another very, very fast illustration concerning thought composition and how memory references are related to them, so you can see how these statements segue into the foundation of and the explanation of the subject matter, because it's all working together. So say if you're a husband and a wife and then the relationship starts to go bad, and then it starts to go extremely bad, and one or the other of the spouses starts to beat up the other one. It can be the male hitting the female, it can be the female hitting the male, and the relationship starts to get extremely bad, extremely brutal. So what will happen is that when So let's just say it's the wife that's being beat up on, and trust me, I know there's asshole women out there too that beat up their husbands. Uh, so let's say though in this example that it's the husband that's doing the domestic violence, right? So on all occasions when the wife saw the husband coming towards her, and then she ends up experiencing pain from the physical assault, those become memory references. And those memory references also have visual memory references of her seeing him approach her, okay, her seeing the fist coming towards her, the kicking and all that other stuff. But you should also know that when you're experiencing a violent act like that, your body will also store physiological signals, electrical chemical responses, anxiety signals, nervousness, fear, emotions. The body will store all of that type of brain states and processes to the event itself, to the visual imagery. It's just the way that the brain stores information, okay? Which makes up a huge aspect of what post-traumatic stress is all about. Oh, absolutely, because the brain is storing everything related to the trauma. All your electrical chemical responses, electrophysiological responses, stress and duress responses, emotions, EEG signature frequencies, emotional cluster frequencies, and the whole 9 yards. So your brain stores all this information. Therefore, on subsequent dates, when she goes home and approaches that front door to go through it, that front door is now going to stimulate those visual memory references of all those prior attacks, or at least one or two. This is how the brain works in reference to creation and the storage of memory references related to violence. Now the reason why I brought this to your attention is because I wanted you to be able to learn a little, if you don't already know, learn a little bit concerning how the brain stores and retrieves information in reference to thought composition and any stimuli that might be that you might visually see that might excite a memory reference. She approaches the door, and then all of a sudden, as a result of seeing the door, she knows the environment she's going into, and then a bunch of memories start getting stimulated because the body and brain is aware that this environment is directly connected to violence. And so when the body recognizes that they're in the environment where the violence has took place in the past, it will stimulate those memory references to that are related to that environment. That's post-traumatic stress, baby. And when you experience memory references that are stimulated through a visual cue, a visual stimuli, the door, the body can also reprocess all the electrical, chemical, and electrophysiological responses, emotions, fear, everything in that instant. Just like when you hear your wedding song 20 days after your wedding day on the radio, your brain will stimulate that auditory memory with visual imagery of the wedding day, and you'll feel good because your wedding day produced good feelings and emotions that got stored. So the reason why I brought this up is because I want you to listen to me and listen to me very closely. First thing I gotta do is I gotta go over here so I can see how much memory I've already used up in this particular video. Okay, so it appears it's about 14 minutes. Alright, so about 14 minutes so far. So I'm going to start talking faster so I can dump as much data in as possible in the remaining amount of time left. Alright, so let's say if you got a gang stalking victim who they made homeless. And this gang stalking victim, as they're experiencing the program on a daily basis, starts experiencing non-stop electromagnetic weapons attacks, direct energy weapons attacks, extremely high levels of ultrasonic sound bone conduction, remote neural monitoring, neural influencing stimulation, including memory stimulation. Google all my statements, baby cake, memory mapping, memory stimulation, remote neural monitoring. Okay. And so say if you got a victim who they make homeless, but you can endure this while you're in your home or where you work at and even along your routes. Google all my statements, baby cakes, because what you're going to learn if you research my descriptions is massive truth, because it's all over the internet, exposed in tens of thousands of posts by tens of thousands of people all over America every day. Not one case investigated. And if nothing's being investigated, you better be damn sure not one perp is being investigated. Oh, absolutely. You really think that's natural? Hold on one second. Let me light my cigarette. Trust me, you'll see this in a minute. So, say if you're a gang stalking victim and you've been made homeless, and these 6 satanic fucks, through the illegal tracking of the victim, which is the stalking of gang stalking, they track the victim to the wooded area that they're forced to use as a direct result of what? Of them knowing that they created the homelessness of the victim as a direct result of them tracking the victim in real time every day along all their routes, including where they go to sleep at night, wooded areas they go to sleep at, wooded areas that they go to rest at, to be by themselves at, okay, to even duck into to smoke a cigarette or go to the bathroom at. They're tracking each victim in real time down to the inch. No joke. Remember, extensively research my descriptions. Now, so they know where the victim's at. They know the victim's a very high-profile whistleblower. And so they keep staging physical events against that victim using anybody and everybody, any type of person, for any reason. They know if they keep staging that kind of stuff using physical people, it will become outwardly apparent that it's being managed because they can see that the victim's predicting it in tweets and email files, audio files, and videos. So if they keep doing what the victim predicts, it's gonna be outwardly transparent to anybody that's got the ability to process common sense that the shit's being staged. So they figure, well, we still gotta force ourselves upon the victim's life experiences, including through trauma and torture. So what we'll do is we'll start incorporating the electromagnetic weapons and direct energy weapons and ultrasonic sound bone conduction torture on a non-stop basis every second while the victim is at the wooded area and even along their routes. Right? So they know that how educated the victim is. They know that the victim knows that tens of thousands of other victims are online reporting it. They know that the victim knows that they're not going to be able to trace where these emissions are coming from, pertaining to if it's coming from a truck, a house, a condo, okay, an asshole standing off the road with a backpack, you know, and doing it, or any type of apparatuses that have been put on the property as a result of them knowing the usual spot that that person picks when they're on the property. Oh, absolutely. You wouldn't believe victims of this crime are finding emitters, transmitters, transducers, antennas, and everything in their homes, in their garages, where they work at, and much more. So they want to be able to continue and force and affect these types of extreme, sadistic, brutal attacks on the victim's brain and biology 24/7 at the wooded area and sometimes along their routes. Okay. So they know the victim is going to run because they know that they're literally killing the victim through slow kill torture. Okay. So hold on one second. So say if a victim went to one wooded area on June 1st, 2014. June 1st, 2014, right? So the victim went to a place on June 1st, 2014. Like right now you see this water machine. You see it clear as day, right? So this becomes a visual memory reference to an item, a product. Therefore, when you see it, you're going to instantly know what it is. Okay? These are businesses. Like, there's a pizza shop over there. Okay? Oh, I'm hungry. Where's the pizza shop at? Your memory reference pulls up the pizza place, in ratio to where you're at or where you might want to go to if you're further away. Which is why I talked about memory references. So you're at a wooded area and you're experiencing non-stop extreme sadistic torture to the brain, joints, and organs. All organs, all joints, and the brain, non-stop. Non-stop. Alright? So they know that you're going to want to leave. Okay? They absolutely know that you're going to want to run from it because you can't fight it. Only a passive shielding only works so well. And they know that you're not going to be able to identify where it's coming from, so you can, even if you knew where it was coming from, the police won't do jack shit because they're intimately, directly connected to this crime and completely controlled by it. Oh, absolutely. Google that. Hold on. Right? So the only option you got left is to run in order to try and survive. And don't think these sick whores don't know that either. In fact, that's one of the biggest ways that they're making victims all over the country homeless, forcing the victims out of their homes in order to escape the attacks. So the victim says to themselves, on June 1st, 2014, I was at this specific area. And I was being brutally attacked at it, so I left it and went to another spot, and then another spot, and then another 15 spots. And did the same thing at each spot. And so they realized, okay, I got to get up and get the hell out of here, right? And so the night before they go to leave, remote neural monitoring offers them the ability to know that the victim's going to leave, subvocal speech monitoring. And if the victim is tweeting they're getting ready to move, they're able to see both. All right? So what these little satanic whores will do is they will escalate the targeting in order to create specific health effects. The victim can't breathe. The victim can't walk 3 fucking feet before collapsing for 10 minutes. Okay? Absolutely. Right? They can hit you in the lungs, the hearts, the chest, the organs, all organs, including brain down to the toe, in order to produce a specific measured effect, which can include your ability to not even walk 3 feet before collapsing. They know they're dealing with a homeless victim that they're doing this to, so they know that that victim has got a bike and would have to carry things on it to sleep with. Tent, sleeping bag, clothes, and the whole 9 yards. So they'll hit the chest in order to strain the heart and the chest muscles. They'll hit the area of the shoulder where the shoulder blades and shoulder itself meets the beginning of the arm. Your muscle, basically your muscle right here. Okay? Because when you're pushing the bike and picking up everything to put on the bike, they're targeting the muscle there, and they're targeting the neck muscle on the side of the body that where your predominant hand is. If you're right-handed, they'll target the right abdomen, the right side of the chest, the heart on the right side, okay, the kidney on the right side, and the musculatory system that the victim would use in the strenuous physical movements of picking shit up and putting it on the bike, pushing the bike. They'll even target the right elbow, because the right elbow is going back and forth as you're pushing the bike. And they can target the chest so bad to where the lungs almost collapse and you can't even breathe. Okay, hold on one more second. Oh, absolutely. Like I said, these are sadistic, wild, filthy whores. It's all they are. It's all they'll ever be. All right, hold on one second. So what you got to understand about these sick, filthy maggots, these criminally insane, mass murdering, demonic raping, gang raping animals, is they know what it's going to take to produce each specific effect on the body and brain, and create certain effects so that the dynamics of how the target is responding to it, packing the bike up, moving. They know the victim's got to put the stuff on the bike. They know the victim's got to push the bike. They know the victim's got to walk the bike with the stuff on the bike. They know the victim's got to ride the bike with the stuff on the bike. So they'll target the parts of the body that are dedicated to physical movement and the ability to have the energy to do so. So the victim, the night before they move, they'll hit those specific areas of the body to create the measured effects that it needs to create so that the victim can't walk 3 feet without collapsing. Now, why do you think this would be done? Well, the torture is so bad at the current area, they know the victim is going to leave. They don't want the victim to go too far. They know that right up the road is an area that the victim used back in 2014. Therefore, there are visual memory references to that place. So as soon as the victim leaves the property, what do you think they start experiencing? Not just the collapsing and not just the ability to not be able to walk 3 feet without being under extreme physical duress, including not being able to breathe. As soon as they leave the property, they start seeing visual images flash in their visual cortex of the other place that they were at on June 1st, 2014. Now, the victim was tortured at that spot too. But what this technology, RNM, can do, remote neural monitoring can do, is it can interrupt your thought deliberations about where to go, and it can blank your memory concerning past events, while repeatedly flashing in the visual imagery from that place. Because they know that the victim is going to be going in a certain direction about where they're going to go to as a direct result of the victim tweeting where they might go, and or as a direct result of the information gathered from the subvocal speech monitoring of remote neural monitoring. So they know what direction the victim is going to from where they're at. So while they can barely walk, what they'll do is flash visual imagery that they recorded from what the victim's eyes seen back on June 1st, 2014, a specific area within a wooded area that they know is right up the street. Why? In order to fool the victim into believing that, okay, this is where I can go because I can't move, I can't go any further, so this is where I go because I know this area is in here. I know this area is right up the street, right? And so what they're doing is tricking the victim into believing that this is a thought composition based on a memory reference about how to solve the current problem. I can't go any further, so this is a place I can go to. Which is why I brought up the information about how you can go to a Mexican restaurant on your way home. You know where you're at, you know where you want to go to, and you know what's in between. Now, the reason why they would do something like that is because the 6 satanic rats are already propped up in the environment And they already got technology at that wooded area spot. So when the victim goes there, the torture can immediately start and or start that night and or the next morning. Welcome to gang stalking. They want to be able to keep the victim in the boxed-in area where they're already propped up at and where their tech is propped up at, so the extreme sadistic torture can occur at the next spot. Welcome to gang stalking. Everybody have a good day. I'll talk to you later.